Hello folks, so I'm going to be talking about INFJ self-loathing. I used to struggle with this and I don't struggle with it anymore, but I'm going to explore some of the reasons why I think this might be. I think one reason, in America at least, is that people want a kind of outgoing, flashy personality, because people enjoy these kinds of flashy personalities because it brings people amusement. And so the fact that INFJs are probably one of the least flashy types out there, it can make us not feel validated in a way, because people are not getting this kind of flashy performance from us, so they're not giving us as much attention, if at all, because we're not emotional candy to them a lot of times. I like to put it this way. A lot of people are looking for candy, but INFJs are like broccoli. We're not like candy. We're healthy for you, we're good for you, and good for your mind if you give us a chance and can appreciate us. But we're not very, we're not like candy. We're not like, the metaphor is like, we're not like going to make you bust out in laughter every few seconds, you know what I'm saying? So this can lead to people overlooking what we have to offer. And when people overlook what we have to offer, we may be tricked into thinking that we don't have much to offer. Okay? Because we see that we're being taken for granted, we're not being called out to go out or hang out or whatever. We're being overlooked and taken for granted over and over. And so we may end up saying, hey, maybe I'm just boring, right? That's what I used to hate myself, because I thought that I was boring. But what I didn't realize was that I don't need to be flashy to be valuable. I don't need to be flashy. I don't have to be a clown, performing for everybody, And so I saw in myself where my value was, which was in my depth. And I'm sure that INFJs can be a very deep type. And so the value is in the thoughts, the insights, the things like that. And so these things are valuable. These things are healthy for people to listen to. And so I think part of the way that an INFJ can get out of these feelings of self-hatred or self-loathing is by recognizing what they have to offer, and that it may not be what everybody wants, but it's still extremely valuable to the few people that will appreciate it. And part of the time, also another thing is, sometimes, I know for myself, I wanted to be more of the flashy type. I wanted to be more social. When I was young, I looked up to people like Jim Carrey and stuff like that. I wanted to be super flashy, and I'm just not. I'm just not flashy. So society can really mess us up in that way by not appreciating our gifts. And another thing that we don't typically have is we don't have introverted sensing. So we can't get validated in a kind of like necessarily like for being super stereotypically SJ. I don't know if you know what that means, but like kind of structured and living like society is wanting you to live. So sometimes we can feel like maybe a failure because we're not adapting to the world easily necessarily. Maybe we're not achieving our potential necessarily. Not all the time, but sometimes. So we can judge ourselves for that, and then we'll think, what are we offering society? What are we offering our fellow human beings? The thing is, INFJ skills can be hard to market. You know what I'm saying? So it can be hard to make money. It can be hard to achieve career success with our skill set, which is emotional depth and emotional maturity. I mean, you could be a therapist, you can be things like that, counselor, artist maybe, or something like that, but it's harder to market than something like that is rooted in physical reality, like some kind of builder or traditional jobs that people get. So that's why we kind of like don't really fit in this world, because what we have to offer nobody wants. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're trying to offer our gifts and nobody really cares, nobody really wants to hear it. A lot of the conversations that we have with people, we have to adapt and be more shallow with people because they don't want to hear deep things. They don't want to hear the deep things that we're thinking about. You know what I'm saying? So that's, our gift is not appreciated by society for the most part, and the way we express ourselves is not appreciated by society. So an INFJ really needs to look within themselves at what is valuable, and maybe say to themselves, maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe it's just that people are just not ready for us or something. It's just maybe I have some interesting insights for people, but people, they just don't want it for some reason, and that's not my fault. It's not an INFJ's fault. It's just the way it is. Just the way that's why we can feel like aliens in this world, because the world doesn't want what we have to offer. We're not acting like most other people. We're not thinking like most other people. So that can lead to a lot of self-judgment. Alright, I guess I'll leave it at that. See ya.